Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Hybrid Now. So I've had this new 2023 redesigned Toyota Prius for a while now. Been putting in a lot of seat time. I've got almost 600 miles on it. I will say it's got more miles given the time that I've had it than some of the other vehicles that I've had recently, and that's because I love driving it. But as a first-time hybrid car owner, this is the first one I've ever had. Never had one before. What is it like owning a hybrid car, in particular the Toyota Prius? What's it like driving it? What's it like living with it day to day? Well, let's jump in, get on the road, and I'll tell you, I'll give you my impressions of what the car is like from a first-time owner perspective. Okay, I've got you on the hat cam, at least in the beginning here. Just to give you the impressions of what it's like to get in the car, start it up, all that. You can see me probably right there with the hat cam on. But let's go ahead, we're gonna jump in. Got my sweet tea with me, gotta have that, right? Let's hop in here. This is what it's like to get in the car. I mean, you know, we're gonna do it right from the beginning on. So, to start it up, well, let's not forget the seat belt, right? We gotta have that. To start it up, all you do obviously is just push the button. And right now it's running. You can see the gauge cluster, I think. Let's make sure you guys can see what I'm seeing. It's a little bit low. There we go. So you can see the gauge cluster there. It might be a little washed out in the dark in the garage. Now, to go into gear, obviously you want to go ahead and just go over and up, and that's going to go back. Now, let's go ahead and get out of the garage, get into some light so you can actually see. Oh, we got to get rid of that. Okay, and of course it has your typical garage door stuff up here underneath the rear view mirror, so we want to hit that. Got to shut the garage door. And then we just keep backing up. Now, you may have heard the engine did kick on. So let's make sure we don't back into anything. Trying to move my head a little slow so I don't drive you guys nuts with sudden movements on the helmet cam. And then we're going to go ahead, and the car right now, if you see the screen up here, is letting me know that I've got stuff around me, right? So obviously I don't want to hit that back there. We're going to go into drive, over and down. And then we're just going to take off. And that's pretty much how you get going. Now, one of my favorite settings on the car, as soon as it goes back, is the energy flow. Let's go ahead and hit that. Now, you can see on the screen, I think, yeah, let me get you a little closer, the energy flow of the car. And the engine is running. That's why it's highlighted or colored in like an orange. And then it shows how all the energy is moving through the car from the engine to the battery. And I also have it up here on the screen. It's just one of the ways that you can set it up. Hopefully you can see that. So let's go ahead and take off, give you the view out of the front here for just a minute. And one thing I want to note is that the car is low relatively, so when you're going down dips and things, you want to make sure that you give yourself enough space, I guess, or height or clearance. You want to go at an angle so that you don't scrape the front of the car. It's the last thing I would want to do, right? Scrape the front of the car. That would be a bit of a bummer. But driving along, this is kind of the view that you get inside of the car. Okay, we're going to take off from a stop. I want you to hear some of the sounds of the car. So here's the turn signal. Pretty normal sound, right? Now let's take off. And there you may have noticed the engine kick in. I gave it a little bit of gas. That fired up the engine. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to give you the horn. It's kind of wimpy. Now, have a listen. We're running right now on electric, and you can hear the sounds that the car puts out under 20 miles per hour. And you can hear it here. And it puts out those sounds to alert pedestrians, anybody who might be walking around, to safety thing, so that, you know, they know that you're there. Now, once you get above 20-ish, you notice that sound is gone. All we can hear now is road noise, which is not a big deal for me. I know, and I've mentioned in other videos, there's that sound you get when you're not running, the engine, I guess, below 20. So anyway, road noise for me is not a big deal. Yeah, you can hear the noise, but come on, you're going to hear noise in anything that you drive, you know, unless you're driving I don't know, maybe a Bentley or a Rolls Royce or something like that. And I would say even in those vehicles, you're still going to have some road noise. And I think that's a good thing. It's about being connected to your environment, right? I don't hate that. Now, the hybrid part itself, because that's what I wanted to focus on in this video. What is it like driving a hybrid? Well, first of all, if you're like me, you're always going to have a screen up, either on the gauge cluster or on the infotainment system itself, showing you the energy flow, because frankly, it's just too cool to watch. And I'm always curious as to how the car is being powered, whether it's coming from the engine or whether it's coming from the battery. You know, right now, after taking that turn, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but the engine is running. We're engine powered and electric powered right now. We're kind of doing both. And also we're kind of charging back and forth. We're taking on charge and we're using charge. It's the way the system works. Now, once I level out to speed, let's see, I'm at about 50, let's get up to 55. When I level out to speed, I should go fully electric, and I am right now. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed any difference. I can't tell any difference. I mean, as far as the transition between engine and battery at 50 some miles an hour, I've actually dropped because I'm talking and not paying attention to the speed. But while I was talking, I gave it some gas to get back up to speed, and we're now running the same way that we were before, with the engine and the electric system engaged. I love that. I think it's cool. One of my big concerns about getting this car, or a hybrid in general, was that I was going to be able to tell. You know, I'd always have a clunky stop and a clunky start when the engine kicks in and kicks out. You can't tell at all. Matter of fact, I think the only time you can really tell is if you're sitting still for some reason. Maybe you're at a long light, or maybe the air conditioning's running full blast and it has to kick on because the battery level is dropping too low. The engine kicks up, and you can hear that, or maybe even feel it just a little bit if you're sitting still. But when you're out driving around, not a big deal at all. Now, in a minute, as soon as we get through a stoplight, I'm going to put the windows down because I want to show what it sounds like inside the car with the windows down, as far as road noise or wind noise and all that kind of stuff goes. So let's go ahead and make sure I get through this light. We're going to go over a railroad track too, so a little idea of what it's like to go over a bump. We're going to hit that at about, I don't know, 50, 55 miles an hour. So let's go ahead. We'll put the driver's window down first. You do catch a little bit of wind right here on this center pillar. It's not a big deal. Let's go ahead and put the passenger side down. We're going to hit that bump here right about now. There was the railroad track. So we've got both front windows down. I do get a decent amount of airflow through here. You can probably hear it. Hopefully it's not drowning me out in the camera. Of course, my hair is blowing all over the place. You know, let's go ahead and put the rears all the way down. We're going to run all the way down. kind of stabilized the air in the front. I've got less wind buffeting and wind feel, noise for that matter, in the front now. Again, I'm hoping that the wind's not killing the microphone on the camera. But you get the idea. Running with all the windows down in this car is actually pretty comfortable. I get a decent breeze, but it's not buffeting me all over the place. And much reduced with all the windows down. Now, let's go ahead and get them up. I'm sure you can tell a big difference. And I think if you're one of those folks that's really bothered by road noise and noise in general in the vehicle, go ahead and put all the windows down and then put them back up. You'll be amazed at how much quieter it is in here with everything up, as is true with any vehicle, right? Now, another thing I want to mention is, is this. The sunroof, moonroof, glass roof. It's not a sunroof. You can't get a Prius with a sunroof. It's not a moonroof. It's merely a glass panel on top, in my case, in this trim level, to let more light in, to be able to see the sky. You know, that's really what it's for, in my opinion. So don't think that if you get the glass roof or whatever, you're going to have a sunroof. There is no retractable roof in this car, probably for good reason. Obviously, if you had a retractable roof, it would weigh more and would reduce the fuel efficiency of the hybrid. So that's one thing you have to get used to if you go to a hybrid Prius anyway, that you've not had before, is you're not going to have a true sunroof. You're just going to have a glass panel on top. Not a big deal for me, really. I keep them closed most of the time anyway, because we get a lot of sun down here and it kind of drives me nuts. Let's talk about fuel economy. Last thing I'm going to mention, in going to a hybrid, and I know a lot of people, they'll go to the hybrid because they're looking to increase fuel economy. I'm getting 47, 48 miles per gallon, and that's driving more aggressively, I think, than you would if you were really trying to hypermile or get the best fuel economy that you could. Still, compared to my trucks, which get anywhere from 14 to 18 miles per gallon, it's much, much better. Much better. So I don't have any complaints with it at all. I think if you're really super sensitive to fuel economy, maybe you should go for the Prime. This is the limited trim, the non-plug-in hybrid, or maybe even a Tesla or something where you're not burning any gas at all. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more of my impressions, I guess, of the car, since I've had it for a little bit longer now. Let you know what it's like to drive in, and maybe even give a little bit of views for people who are looking to buy the Prius but don't have it yet. I always find it fun if I'm looking for a vehicle to maybe look at somebody else that has one, just so that it can kind of tide me over until I get the car. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.